chosen one. If these words have found you, it is not coincidence. It is divine orchestration. The hand of the Almighty has guided you to this very moment, because heaven has something to announce over your life. You've been walking a road that very few could endure, carrying weights invisible to others but fully noticed by God, and standing with a resilience that has caught the attention of eternity. This is not empty encouragement. This is not a slogan for temporary motivation. This is confirmation from the throne of heaven itself. God is proud of you, not merely for what you have accomplished, but for who you remained while you walked through the fire, through trials, through seasons where quitting seemed easier than continuing. This is your appointed time of lifting, but before you rise, you must understand the why. This message will unfold in 7 divine chapters, each one revealing a reason heaven has chosen this moment to elevate you. This is not about earthly applause. It is about heavenly recognition. Chosen one, lean in. This is not entertainment. This is a prophetic announcement, a word alive with the breath of the Spirit. If it has reached you, it is because God Himself has set this word in your path. If your spirit resonates, mark it by declaring it in the comments with the number 77. That is not random. It is a prophetic symbol of completion, covenant, and divine alignment. It is heaven's code saying, I am ready, I am aligned, I receive my elevation with humility and purpose. Understand this, not everyone who begins this word will finish it. Only those truly chosen will feel the tug to stay until the end. And those who stay will walk away not only encouraged, but transformed with clarity, divine validation, and a deeper awareness of why this is your season of lifting. Don't treat this like just another video. This is a living word, a spiritual mirror, a holy reminder of who you are. Revisit it whenever your soul feels weak, for every time you listen, new revelation will unfold, new keys will unlock, new doors in the Spirit will open. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. You obeyed in the dark. Chosen one, heaven honors you because you obeyed when obedience didn't make sense. You didn't have a manual. There was no clear map, no step-by-step confirmation, no spotlight, no applause. Most of the time, all you had was silence and the ache of uncertainty. And yet, you still obeyed. You moved forward when everything around you screamed, stay still. You said yes when fear whispered, say no. Obedience in clarity is easy. But obedience in the unknown, that's where true faith lives. That's where chosen vessels are separated from the crowd. Hebrews 11:8 says, by faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place that he was to receive as an inheritance. And he went out, not knowing where he was going. That is what you did. You stepped without sight, trusting the voice of the one who was leading you, even when you couldn't trace his hand. When others waited for evidence, you moved on revelation. You weren't chasing a perfect plan. You were following a perfect God. You didn't demand answers. You clung to His word. And when that word came, you moved. Even if it meant isolation, even if it meant being misunderstood, even if it meant being laughed at. What looked like confidence on the outside was trembling trust on the inside. But you kept walking. You didn't stop, not because you felt fearless, but because your spirit knew that obedience is greater than outcome. And heaven saw every step in the dark, every private yes, every hidden sacrifice, every quiet decision to keep believing. That is why God is lifting you now. You didn't follow Him for blessings. You followed Him because of love. And that posture is what heaven rewards. Your obedience in the unseen has qualified you for promotion in the seen. Chapter 2. You held on when heaven was silent. There were seasons you thought you were forgotten. You prayed, but the only response was silence. You cried out, but the heavens seemed distant. You watched others being blessed while you were still waiting in the hallway of delay. The silence was heavy, almost unbearable. But chosen one, you didn't let go. Isaiah 40:31 declares, "But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." That was you. You waited when waiting was painful. You trusted when trust felt foolish. You stood even when nothing moved. Anyone can praise when the breakthrough comes quickly, but it takes a chosen one to whisper, "God, I still trust you," when nothing makes sense. Every tear, every heavy morning, every night you stayed instead of running. It all testified to your endurance. And now, heaven is moving. That silence wasn't punishment, it was preparation. God was shaping you in the quiet, teaching you that faith is not dependent on feelings. And now that you've proven you can handle the silence, get ready, because God is about to speak loudly through miracles, open doors, and unexpected breakthroughs. Chapter 3. You stayed pure in a corrupt world. In an age where compromise is celebrated and purity is mocked, you chose the narrow road. You could have blended in, lowered your standards, silenced your convictions, but you refused. You stood set apart. 2 Timothy 2:21 reminds us, "Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master." That is you. You weren't just protecting your body. You were guarding your spirit, your heart, your oil. You fought for integrity, even when no one else was watching, and God saw it. He doesn't promote just on gifting, He promotes on purity of heart. You proved that you could be trusted, that power won't corrupt you, that influence won't compromise you. That's why He's lifting you, because the world doesn't need more gifted voices. It needs pure vessels. And you are one of them. Chapter 4. You blessed others while you needed blessing. Even in your weakness, you poured. Even when your own heart was breaking, you became a lifeline for others. You gave when you had little left. You encouraged when you were discouraged. That wasn't weakness, it was kingdom strength. Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." You didn't give up. You kept sowing seeds of compassion, mercy, and love, even in your hardest seasons, and heaven recorded it. Now the harvest is coming. What you gave in secret is about to return in public overflow. God is about to repay you, not just with blessing, but with multiplied blessing. You're not just receiving a miracle, you are becoming one. Chapter 5. You refused to bend to fit. From the beginning, you knew you were different. You tried to fit in, but it never worked. Your spirit was too distinct, your calling too unique. And though it cost you relationships, opportunities, and acceptance, you still chose authenticity. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." You lived that verse. You didn't trade your anointing for applause. You didn't edit your fire to make others comfortable. You stood firm. And now God is about to honor that stand. The very thing that made you stand out is the thing He's about to showcase to nations. Chapter 6. You believed against the facts. The facts screamed defeat, but your spirit declared victory. Your situation said impossible, but your faith said possible. 2 Corinthians 5:7 reminds us, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." That's what you did. Every time circumstances gave you evidence of failure, you countered with God's promises. Every time the enemy waved facts in your face, you clung to faith. And your faith activated heaven. Doors began to move, angels were dispatched, miracles were set in motion. That is why God is lifting you, because your faith has become a testimony. Chapter 7. You stayed humble when you could have flexed. You had reasons to defend yourself, to prove yourself, to clap back at those who lied about you, but you didn't. You chose humility over ego. You chose silence over strife. You let God be your vindicator, and heaven always rewards humility. James 4:10 says, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will exalt you." That's where you are now. You stayed low, and now God is lifting you high. This elevation will not be man-made, it will be God-given. No hand can block it, no enemy can stop it. This promotion is not rooted in pride, it is rooted in purity. Chosen one, you have been tested, refined, and proven. Heaven has already announced it. This is your season of elevation. Walk in it boldly, humbly, and faithfully, for the Lord who called you is faithful to complete it.